What's up, everybody? How you doing? Welcome back to Horror Hangout and a very special episode of Me and My Final Girl, where we've got my girls, if you can't tell. Got the little one Charlie with us today, and obviously Carissa. This is a special show to me. We get to go back and watch movies that I've been watching for 10, 15, 20 years, and she gets to discover them for the very first time, that's the beauty of this entire podcast, is that Carissa's discovering things that I've loved for a very long time. A lot of movies that I've been watching for far longer than I've even known her. So I mostly just enjoy watching her watch the movies. But last night, we got to do something pretty cool. I gave her a choice, like, hey, which movie you want to watch? We were looking at Scream 2 and Friday the 13th. I had a fan of the channel reach out and say, hey, you don't ever cover Friday. Are you interested in doing that? It's not my favorite franchise, but I thought, I really haven't covered it. So we decided to go with Friday the 13th, the very first one. She'd never seen any of these movies, and I was just thinking, like, that's bananas. We'll cover Scream 2 pretty soon, but when I was getting the movie, I was thinking, like, man, I don't remember this being real crazy. I think Charlie could probably watch it. And she came in to say goodnight, and it was just starting. I said, you want to watch it with us? She goes, no, and then she sat in my lap. So, kids and all. So she watched the whole movie. She watched about half of it last night, fell asleep with Carissa, and then they rewatched the second half this morning while I was at work. So they got to watch Friday the 13th for the very first time. Did you watch it all the way to the very end? Okay.
Yes, until the credits rolled. If there was something after the credits.
No. I don't think it's after the credits.
Okay.
Well, everybody knows what I'm talking about. The canoe thing.
Jumps out of the water and gets her. Yes.
Yes. Okay. So I was just making sure that's pretty much the very end of the movie for the most part. I mean, after that, it's like, does she wake up in the hospital after that?
Yes.
Man, my memory is so bad. I just watched it last night. I'll be honest. I didn't, like, once y'all were snoozing, I was barely paying attention. I was like on my phone because I've seen this movie 100 times. But anyways, okay. So they got to watch it for the very first time. Let's get Charlie's opinion on it first, and we'll get her back to doing her thing with playing her Switch and whatnot. So, okay, Charlie, Friday the 13th. Do you know who the main guy is in Friday the 13th? It's the hockey mask dude named Jason. Okay, so that's the thing is about, well, I mean, you wouldn't know that by watching the first movie.
Mm-mm.
He doesn't even get his hockey mask until the third movie. So this is one of my big issues with Friday the 13th. Everybody loves this franchise, and they love Jason Voorhees. And I'm like, dude, Jason Voorhees didn't even show up till movie 2. Didn't have the hockey mask till movie 3. Dude, like a third of the franchise isn't even what people think of as Friday the 13th. This movie was way more fun than I remembered it being. The last, like, campy movie, like actual camp movie that I watched was Sleepaway Camp, and this is so far much better than that movie that it's kind of crazy. But anyways, okay, so what are your thoughts on Friday the 13th?
Well, it's a good movie, but it's just that why do they take off their clothes in the movie? Why?
So
why? They don't need to.
You heard it here first, folks. No boobies needed. She doesn't like to watch boobies come out. I'm so glad. That'd be so weird. Anyways, so why do they have to take their shirts and stuff off? Okay, I'll answer your question. There's an actual answer to that. It's targeted at an audience between the ages of like 17 and 30. It's an adult thing, which is why you don't want to watch it. It's why you don't have any interest in it, and it's why you cover your eyes. It's an adult thing. So that's why their shirts come off. Also, there's a trope in horror movies that if your shirt comes off, you're gonna die. It's literally like, if you ever watch Scream when you get a little bit older, you'll see. Trying to introduce her to horror movies, and this was a pretty tame one. Okay, what else are you thinking about this movie? You said it was pretty good.
But me and Mommy were thinking the blood looks like cherry Kool-Aid.
That's a good thing. Yeah. Cherry Kool-Aid is better than red paint.
That's true.
That's pretty decent blood. The guy that did the special effects, his name is Tom Savini, and he's Dad's favorite special effects artist. And this is back in, man, what year was this silly movie? I think it was around the time I was born. It's an old movie at this point. I wish I had a better memory to like just recall dates and things, but okay. So how'd you think about the kills in this one?
My favorite one is somehow when the girl just gets killed in the bathroom.
Right?
Yeah.
Was she pooping?
I don't.
No, she wasn't pooping, but it'd be funny if she was.
And then he started seeing blood in her poop, and then she realized she was dying.
Is this the premise that you're making up?
Yes.
That's what would be funny.
If she had blood in her poop and then she was dying from it?
Yeah.
Dying of dysentery.
Oh. So the movie came out in 1980. So for like 1980, this movie is 2 years older than your dad. So for it to come out that long ago and still look as good as it does, I think is pretty cool. That says a lot about the guy who did all the special effects.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so did you have a character that you liked in the movie? It was kind of an even cast. Everybody had their parts, but was there one person you liked better than anybody else? No. Yeah, it's kind of a, what do you call that? It's like an ensemble cast of people. There's a bunch of folks have all kind of equal screen time. So did you think that the movie was scary at all?
Not that much.
Not that much.
The
Yeah.
only thing that was kind of scary is when the boy just.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. That's what that was meant for. Did you know it was coming? Did it get you?
It didn't get me because
I think it did.
No, because that's the part where I woke up last night, and that's all I saw. Like, I woke up as the cops are driving up and find her on the lake. I'm like, what?
And then she's like, how much of the movie did I miss?
Yeah, but that got you
All
though.
of it.
Scared you a little bit.
And I was like,
Okay, so before we let Charlie go, on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you grade this movie?
7.
7? Ooh. Oh, good job, little one. Do you want to watch the next one in the series?
Mm-hmm.
I think we have a budding horror fan.
I just want to know what happened. How? Who is the guy with the hockey mask? I want to know who.
We'll get to that one later. We'll get to that one. You want to watch it with Daddy tonight? It's Friday, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be kind of late, so you might fall asleep again, but we'll watch half of it and then watch the other half later.
You know, one thing that she did point out that she was very shocked about was when the credits started rolling, it said starring, whomever as Mrs. Voorhees.
Mm-hmm.
My teacher isn't a bad person. She is.
Oh, I forgot about that. She has a teacher at school named Mrs. Voorhees, and so did her older brother. I completely forgot about that. Clearly, I'm an attentive father.
You are.
I am, but I have a terrible memory. So
You just don't care about school either.
I really don't. I forgot about that. So you're gonna tell your teacher that you saw a movie about her?
No.
You can tell her about the movie though? She would be kind of interested to find out that you watched a movie with Miss Voorhees in it.
Mm-hmm.
She knows what your dad does. She's not gonna be at all
Right.
surprised. She's gonna be like, "Oh, finally." Okay, but you like the
Okay.
movie?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you for watching it with us. We appreciate it. Can I have a hug?
Yes.
All
Daddy
right.
hug.
I had a good time watching that movie with you, little one.
You fluffy hug.
Let's go, Fluffy Hugs. All right, tell everybody bye.
Bye.
All right, we'll have
Rest
Charlie.
you.
The
We'll have.
rest of the other person talking will be mommy.
Let's go. Yep. All right. Well, we had a good time with you, baby girl.
See you soon.
Yep.
See you after the video.
She's awesome. Okay, so Friday the 13th, 1980. How'd you like it?
I thought it was a very good movie. It was not scary at all.
Like the idea of it scary. If you were the one in the woods, like that's how I've come to like watch. Sorry,
Right.
I'm interrupting you already.
It's okay.
Go ahead.
I do think that it is the most plausible premise of most of the movies that we've watched.
That's true. That's
Uh,
true. Somebody's heartbroken and angry.
Yes, bereaved mother going crazy and killing people,
Mm-hmm.
and and there's no real aside from the canoe thing, there's no real supernatural anything. It's just people dying quietly, just picked off one by one, and the kids think that it's just a prank, which they would do.
Well, it's crazy because it takes a sharp left turn into like Supernaturalville in the second movie. As soon as the second movie starts and the third one, I mean, it just keeps going. Which you know me, I don't have to have anything be grounded for me to enjoy it. I mean, my
Right.
favorite movie is Terrifier, and that's clearly not realistic. But you know, it definitely goes straight into like, what can we come up with next? Because this is plausible, or at least relatively realistic. And once you do relatively realistic, it is hard to make a sequel that stays realistic, unless you're going to just cut and paste, which nobody will watch.
Right.
That's the problem. So they had to go a little bit more grand. The story had to get a little crazier. Excuse me. Jason X is basically Doom. It's like in space. Like, that's my favorite one, by the way. I know y'all are shocked. But okay, so how did you feel about the special effects?
I thought they were pretty good, especially for the age.
Yeah, for 1980, they're excellent.
Yeah, you know, there's this, and on the giant TV,
Mm-hmm.
it's also, a bit more apparent that, the bloody neck isn't the same color as the face.
Oh, it's going to be apparent on a
And-
phone. The pictures are too good now. The pictures are so
Right.
good. I bet on VHS on an old TV like I've got, it probably looks quite a bit better. Since you know it's there, it's going to be hard to escape seeing it.
Right.
But I'd be willing to bet if you just ask somebody like Ryan, the little kid at the shop,
Yeah.
hey Ryan, does that look real? But he'll tell you yes. On an older setup.
Yeah.
On the new one, he might just look at it and be like, I don't think so.
Yeah.
But yeah, he says hi to everybody, by the way. Tell your family I said hi. He said it this morning. Yeah, I saw him at the shop for a few minutes. I gave him a hat. Okay, so story was pretty easy to believe. Plot, I mean, honestly, this is when I rewatching it. I think my reason for not liking Friday the 13th so much over the years was that everybody likes Jason Voorhees, but the movie didn't start about Jason Voorhees, or it did, but it was about him dying and his mother being upset about it.
Yeah.
And so I didn't understand the fandom being about that, and I also tend to buck trends. Like I if something's super popular, I tend to be like, nope, I'm good.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I do it, but I am aware that I do it. It is aggravating to even me for me to be like, oh man, why do I behave this way? Because I flip flop a lot with movies and music. It is what it is, man. I don't really care. Ultimately, at the end of the day, I'd rather watch any horror movie than almost anything else. So, but rewatching it last night, I don't think it just completely changed my mind. I think I'm pretty lukewarm on it still, but it was better than I remembered it being. It was definitely better than some of the more, let's see, early 80s like clones. But it doesn't even touch stuff like Hatchet, which is basically Friday the 13th. It even has Kane Hodder, who plays Jason Voorhees.
Okay.
So like, we need to watch Hatchet at some point so you can see what I'm talking about, because Hatchet is just an updated version of it. It's in Louisiana on a river.
Yeah.
And Victor Crowley's the bad guy, and it's a very similar kind of thing. The kid is,
I think
big hulking. You might have watched some of it with me at some point.
I think I've watched some of it because I think we watched it during Pick a Flick Friday. Once upon a time.
That was so much fun back then.
It was so much fun, and we didn't watch the movie at all. We were just
talking the whole time with people on the screen.
Yeah, and so like I've seen screens from it. Basically, I've seen GIFs.
Well, that's my favorite Friday the 13th movie.
Okay.
Is Victor Crowley and Hatchet and all those sequels.
Okay.
I say that often, and people sometimes agree immediately. Go, like, "Oh, I like that idea." It's like, yeah, that's a good point. But I will say, without a doubt, if you don't have Friday the 13th, you'll never get Hatchet and Victor Crowley. So there is that, and that matters, because as much as I love Rancid, without the Clash, you wouldn't have Rancid, and so I have a certain amount of respect for the Clash just based on that alone. But I did like the movie better. I thought that the idea of the movie is much scarier than the actual movie itself, because they did a lot of the kills off screen. There wasn't a lot of actual violence in the movie. There was a little bit of gore, but the violence wasn't really there. I don't understand how anybody could watch this movie and be like, my kid shouldn't watch this. It's not scary. It's not violent. There's like one boob in it for like 4 seconds that Charlie clearly didn't like. I think it's so funny that she's so just not into that. I'm so happy. So happy.
I mean, there is the part where Bacon and the girl are having sex, and like you can see his hips moving, but that's it.
Yeah, but I mean, it's so close up on the people that if you just like, hey Charlie, like, you want something to eat? Like,
yeah.
I mean, it's not of any consequence. Like, I'm talking about like real stuff.
Yeah,
we watch these movies, and man, there's some like graphic sex in some of the movies that I watch, and like, I have to be really careful with what I let the kids watch because of that. Because I may be joking around all the time and all this, but I don't let them watch stuff like that. I don't let them talk about it. I don't let them. Look, they're 8 and 9. They can do that stuff when they hit puberty. I expect it at 12, 13, 14. Man, I don't expect it right now. They're kids. And she acts as though she's a kid. She's a little kid. So, but this is actually a pretty good one. We need to watch number 2 without her first, because I can't remember what's in that one.
Okay.
I don't think it's anything graphic. I think it's 3, 4, and 5 before it starts getting real bad. And even then, I don't think it's naked people. I think it's violence.
Okay.
But I mean, look, man, every single day there's something crazy happening in the real world, and it's all crazier than what's happening in these movies. So, I don't know. Overall, the special effects I thought were pretty great,
Right.
especially for 1980, and like the axe in the head, the
Yes.
the thought to use a fake torso so they could push the thing through the neck. Look, I don't know that I would have thought about that. I would have had a cut scene. It would have had him on the bed, and then all of a sudden it would have had him screaming, and probably would have been a shadow with it going through the thing, and then it would have been like the after effects of it.
Right.
Like it could have been still going through, but it wouldn't have shown it happen.
Right.
Showing it happen is where the magic was in this movie. It came through there, and yeah, it looks crazy in 2022, but in 1980, that shit was awesome. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, and it looked reasonable to me because I wasn't expecting it at all. I was just like,
I was having to keep my mouth shut. I'm like,
bacon smoking. Okay, what's about to happen? Is he about to discover the body that's, right above him? No,
he's gonna become one. I did make a very corny joke that I'm sure has been made a million times when his butt was out, and I called it pork butt. Dad joke time. But I had a pretty good time watching it with y'all. Like, I think if I'd have watched it by myself, I kind of would have been bored because I've seen it so many times.
Yeah.
But watching it with you guys kind of reinvigorated my interest in the whole series.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because I want to watch this stuff with you so bad. And Charlie, too. Bricken, I know he has no interest in this stuff, but I know Charlie is an artful person, and I think that she would appreciate practical effects like I do.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that as she gets a little older, I'm going to just slowly I don't want to drop her in a deep end. I don't want to... Ricky-O. There's no nudity in that. It's just craziness.
And it's not even remotely believable.
No, she might love that movie.
It's so silly.
It's a cartoon with real people. So we might be doing Ricky-O, the story of Ricky, with Charlie P, the story of Charlie. Parker P's like,
goodness.
Am I invited? Pedro's all, Bricken's like, I'm good.
Right?
Bricken doesn't care about none of this. No. We have a whole family day, and he'd be like, all right, have fun, guys.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I got to get ready for work here in a minute, so let's wrap this up. Okay. Do you have interest in watching the next one?
Sure.
Did you like the movie?
I thought it was... Yes.
You only have two answers.
Okay.
Give yes or no. Did you like it or not?
Yeah.
Okay. Now you can grade it. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much did you like it?
I think
Charlie gave it a 7. I was pretty happy with that.
Right?
I think it's a pretty knowledgeable grade for her.
Right?
I was a little surprised. She usually goes 1 or 10.
I think it would probably end up being like a 7 or an 8.
Okay.
Because it is a really good story. It's very obvious how much it borrows from Psycho.
Oh, we didn't even talk about that part. The score in this movie is really, really good, but there's a heavy Psycho, what do you call it? Homage?
Yes.
But,
the score, the knife, the unhealthy mother-son relationship.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so the music of the movie. I don't know where we're at. We just had to pause it for a minute. Sorry. So, I don't know where we were talking about. The score of the movie?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what we were talking about?
We're talking about the score, how much it's like Psycho.
Yeah, it does have a lot of Psycho elements in it, but I mean, at the time, that's probably a wise move. It made the story better. I don't know, man. Taking from something like that and creating something even... I don't know if I would call it better at all, because I think Psycho is a far superior film, in my personal opinion. But like creating something completely different is what I'll say.
Mm-hmm.
That's also good. That's also yours, but taking it, like getting inspired by Psycho to make something like this, I think it's a great thing.
Oh yeah.
I think I'd rather them do that than to come up with some original idea that was wacky and kooky and that just didn't make any sense.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't know. The movie was pretty good. I think you said a 7.5 or 8 is what you said?
Yeah.
I think I'll probably go with 7.5 on that. It doesn't hold up though. That's my problem with this one and Halloween. They're not scary. The idea of the thing happening is scary, and I have to be able to be okay with that. Because I don't get scared in movies. Hardly ever. Like, rarely do I get scared in a film. Like, I mean, even jump scares most of the time don't get me. A couple of them have recently, which I think is really great. That movie Smile got me a couple times. But I was stoked about that because I want to go in there and I want to be like, I want to get creeped out. Like, the Joker depressed me. I want to get that same kind of reaction out of a horror movie. I want to walk out of the theater and be like scared. Like, it hasn't happened since I watched Scream the first time. I was freaked out by that movie. I was still really young when I watched that, and I watched it by myself in a house. It was a terrible idea. But like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, when I first watched it, scared me. Nightmare on Elm Street scared me when I first watched it, but I watched these when I was young. So like, I don't know. This in Nightmare on Elm Street doesn't hold up very well. Texas Chainsaw still holds up, but it's not. I wouldn't call it scary, but it holds up better. I don't know. It's a tough conversation because these are beloved properties that people absolutely adore, and so if you talk crap on them, it's not even talking crap. If you just acknowledge things about them and you make observations that they're not wholly positive and reinforcing other people's opinions, they get really upset about it. And I'm not saying that it's good, bad, or anything. I'm just stating a fact that they get upset about that. They take it very personally, and it ends up kind of messy sometimes. And so I tend to just stay away from these kind of movies, to be honest.
Right.
Especially on the channel. I don't, I'll take every opportunity I get to burn The Exorcist because that movie's boring as shit. It's a terrible movie. It's not particularly well made. It's just, I don't get it, man. I don't understand the love for that movie. When it came out, I guess it was scary. I still don't even understand that because nothing really happens in the movie.
I feel like it was just the effects were.
But there wasn't even very many effects, though. It was very light on. Let's not get into a tangent about The Exorcist right now because I'm not here to do that. But like, that's what I mean. Those like all these old movies that are beloved, like mid '80s, I start to really like those movies. Even something like Rosemary's Baby, it was more of a suspenseful horror movie, so I can appreciate that one.
Okay.
But it's hard. I don't know. It's hard. But I'm glad I watched it with you guys because it definitely made me enjoy it more. And that's what I thought was going to happen when we watched The Exorcist. I thought that you would like it better than you did, and I would have an appreciation for it that I didn't have before because of you. And that's what the beauty of this whole thing is that I get to renew my love for properties that maybe I've kind of cooled off on a little bit. But would you have any desire to ever do like a marathon, a rewatch, or anything like that?
Sure.
So, well, that's, I mean, you know, a no is a big sign. Like, saying no to that is like, oh, that, yeah, you weren't at all impressed by that. So, okay, cool. Well, we can maybe do that one of these days. It's not a priority or anything, but I just like to kind of know where we stand with movies. And yeah, you said somewhere around an 8. I said somewhere around 7.5. Charlie said somewhere about a 7. So I think 7.5 is a pretty good average. Friday the 13th, 1980. Success. I think that was I enjoyed it, man. I'm glad we watched it. So I look forward to watching the second one. I know you guys love this franchise, so let us know in the comments what you think about this movie. What are your favorite parts? Do you have a favorite character? Oh, you know, we didn't really talk about any of that stuff, really. Let's just jump back into it real quick. Okay. The characters in the movie. My memory is so bad. We'll do the other video maybe tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Where we watched Annabelle Comes Home. And shocking results. So I can't wait to talk about it with her. You guys will like that video. Let's see here. So we had Bree, Jared Padalecki. No, this is the remake. Ugh. Wait, what is going on right now? 1980. Dude, it was pulling up stuff from like all kinds of franchises. I'm like, dude, what? No. Okay. Okay, Alice. Annie was like hands down the prettiest girl. I couldn't believe that they killed her first. I forgot about that. She was so pretty, and I couldn't believe. And she was like super happy. Yes. The happy thing, I was like, oh, you shouldn't be that happy, young lady.
It was adorable.
And a surefire sign that you're gonna die.
Yeah. Interesting.
But she was so cute, and she was a very pretty girl, but she died first. But everybody that I've always talked to has always thought that Alice was really cute, and I just don't get it, man. What?
When you pointed that out in the movie, I said the one that looks like Kevin Bacon because same hair, like.
She did have a Kevin Bacon look back then. I mean, now they don't look anything alike.
Oh yeah.
But back then they had a very similar. Yeah. They could have been like cousins.
Oh yeah.
For real. But everybody thought she was pretty. So you didn't have a favorite character, did you?
Not really. I mean, I was watching Kevin Bacon because he was the one that I recognized.
He's the star, yeah.
And then, you know, they killed him I was surprised.
This guy was my favorite. The one who played Bill. I like Bill. He was like the guy that would be me. He was like kind of standoffish, a little weird. Like,
okay.
I like Bill. But I mean, yeah, my favorite character in Friday the 13th is clearly Jason Voorhees, but that's not for like 2 more movies. Yeah, the score was solid. Dude, the acting was serviceable, man. It wasn't anything to write home about, but it certainly wasn't the worst I've seen. I mean, we watch a lot of movies here that are bad. Rise of the Chupacabra. It was awesome. I loved it, but it was terrible. That was a bad movie, man. That was one that I had a hard time enjoying that one. But I mean, I liked it, but I was invested. I couldn't quit watching it. Like, it was like I was invested in it. I was like, I got to make it through it. It isn't bad as Veronica was. Yeah, I mean, I guess there's not really much else to talk about, so we'll get out of here. But like, characters were good, man. The acting was serviceable. There wasn't anybody that stuck out. Kevin Bacon was the guy that ended up being famous. He wasn't. I don't think he was particularly famous.
That's
in
what
this
I was
movie.
thinking. I was like, okay,
it certainly didn't seem like
that's
it.
why he wasn't the last one to die.
Right.
You know?
So, yeah, Kevin Bacon being in it is kind of cool. Johnny Depp is in Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a bunch of young people that start off in these movies, and it's cool to go back and watch them, especially if you don't know it. And you go, "Oh my goodness, that's Johnny Depp!" And like when first time I saw Nightmare on Elm Street as an adult,
yeah,
and I was like, I don't remember Johnny Depp being in this. Sure as shit was. So, yeah, dude, 7.5, Friday the 13th, 1980. Very successful movie watch. Little one watched it with us. We had a great time. This video is a little weird. There's gonna be some weird cuts. My apology in advance. Yeah, man, come back and see us again soon. We'll have more videos coming. We're going to do Annabelle Comes Home. We got a couple other things to do. I got some solo stuff to do, of course, and we'll be back here as soon as possible. Thank you for joining me and my wife with another episode of You My Final Girl. It's been a good time. You liking doing this? This is less stressful than we tried to do it the first time. You know what it was is that we were trying to keep a schedule that was impossible to keep.
Yeah.
And now we're just going to drop this video whenever we want, which could be 3 in a week, once every 3 weeks. It doesn't matter, just whenever we get around to doing it. So
right.
That makes it so much easier. Trying to keep a schedule for this stuff. I can do scheduled stuff. Making you involved in it is just unnecessary. So we will bring these to you as often as we can. If you have any suggestions, movies you'd like Carissa to watch, or something that's a little lighter that you'd like Charlie to watch, throw it in the comment, man. Let us know. If we can do it, we will. But this is my favorite shit to do, so we'll be doing it as often as possible. All right. Thanks, everybody, for watching. I appreciate it. Like, comment, subscribe if you can. We're trying to hit 1,500 subscribers on Horror Hangout, and we're almost at 25K at Shop 31. So lots of things happening for us over here. All right. Thanks a lot. Again, I appreciate it. Have a good day. Peace.